My beautiful friend, I hope you're doing well today. Happy New Year's Eve, and Happy New Year to all of you who are already celebrating New Year's. Right away, my nose is running. Great. So this reading is, I feel called to do something a little different today, and I'm feeling called because it is New Year's Eve, and we're about to start a new year. I'm feeling called to do a reading about what you're leaving behind this year and what you're calling in energetically. And because it is New Year's Eve, where I am anyway, I thought I would, first of all, why am I having a hard time finding my words? First of all, my nose is running, right? So something that you're leaving behind, I'm hearing. And I am feeling a little anxious as well, or I'm picking up on some anxiety. So something you're leaving behind this year. Love that runs from you, and love that makes you feel anxious, and love that makes you overthink. And in no way am I saying that you're leaving, your counterpart behind, or you're leaving someone behind. But I want to know what you're calling in, even if that is a healed version of your counterpart or new love. So I don't really want to stick a label on it and say it's new love or healed love that you're calling in. But what we accept is our way of communicating to the universe what we think we deserve, right? I always say that. So I wanted to do it differently today and look at what you're calling in and what you're leaving behind, what you're no longer willing to accept. So love that runs and love that makes you question it and overthink and causes sleepless nights and things like that. We're done with that, right? And this year is, I believe, if I'm doing my math right, we're about to be in 2026, which reduces to 10, which is Wheel of Fortune energy. So this year was the year of the Hermit, 9. And so maybe a lot of you spent this year alone or doing a lot of soul searching, reflection, healing. And this year, the wheel is going to turn in your favor. Things are going to change, is what I'm hearing. So let's welcome change, right? The wheel is going to turn in your favor. I'm going to keep this handy because right away my nose started running. So let's get, close your ear holes. I'm going to get a tarot pin for what you're leaving behind and then a tarot pin for what you're welcoming in or what you're calling in. So let's have a look. What are you leaving behind this year? Certainly not yourself. What are you leaving behind? We have the star upside down. So that's interesting. I pulled it upside down or in reverse. So you are leaving behind, I'm hearing a few things. You're leaving behind lack of faith. You're leaving behind negativity. You're leaving behind negative mindsets. You're leaving behind, possibly connections that don't want to do the healing or people who don't want to do the healing, who are unwilling to look at their shadows, I'm hearing. And let's see what you're calling in. What are you calling in? We have the Emperor. So you're calling in stability. You're calling in someone who steps up and takes the lead. You're calling in divine masculine energy, okay? So we're already off to a good start. So, do you know what I'm hearing? Like, no more unhealed masculines, please. But keep that positive mindset. Also, what you're calling in, divine masculine energy. You are, this year, heading into this year, you know your worth. You know your worth, and you're not willing to settle for less than you deserve, right? Also, releasing fixer patterns, that makes sense. So we have the Emperor and we have the Star in reverse. So releasing any fixer patterns over trying to fix people or trying to help them heal. The only way you can help them heal is by healing yourself and leading by example. The emperor, take the lead. And I think that a lot of us feel, especially empaths, light workers, spiritual beings, we start to heal and we want to help others heal, but you can't force someone to heal. You can't convince them to. They have to make that decision on their own. That expression, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So this year, releasing fixer patterns over people who are unwilling to heal, and that's not about abandoning them, but you don't want to abandon yourself by staying in a low vibrational energy, right? Doesn't mean you don't love them. So I wanted to start with this deck for some reason. We do have faith, love is coming. So have faith. Leave that negative mindset and that lack of faith, right? The star in reverse. Leave that in 2026 and carry hope and belief and positive thinking into 2026. This is 2025, isn't it? Leave that negative mindset and people who run from you in 2025 and carry a positive, maybe your name is Carrie, carry a positive mindset into 2026. The other thing I wanted to mention is it might be a good idea for you tonight, if you feel called to write some intentions of what you're calling in this year and then stick it under your pillow with a piece of clear quartz, I'm hearing. So anyway, let's shuffle the deck. All right, let's see what we need to know about what you're going through right now. And then we'll be able to tell by this what you're leaving behind and what you're calling in. Man, my nose will not stop running. So if you're connected to a runner, it's time to let them run, It's time to stop chasing. It's time to let them run until they run out of breath. All right. So let's cut the deck. Man, my nose won't stop running. Are you dealing with a runner? All right, let's see. What do we need to know for this collective? Okay. Boat. Receiving what you need, progression, arriving, moving on. So, first of all, I'm hearing something about a runner. You don't need to chase someone for love. You don't need to chase someone for friendship. You don't need to chase anything. Allow it to come to you. I don't chase, I attract. Receiving what you need, progression. So moving on. So it's time to move on. It's time to, again, that wheel is going to turn in your favor. So whatever you're trying to drag into this year with you, it's meant to be left behind. Don't be dragging any dead weight with you is what I'm hearing. The sword and the rose, clarity, truth, revelation, solidarity, force, honor, protection, power, standing in your power, knowing your worth. I'm seeing the Queen of Swords. So honoring your own boundaries, knowing your worth, not accepting less than you deserve, putting up healthy boundaries. We have separation. Sadness, missing you, thinking about you, yearning, unsure of future. So, one thing I'm hearing is leave behind the idea of separation, especially if you're a counterpart or you resonate with twin flames, because separation, they say, is an illusion, that you're actually in union. Separation is an illusion. Why can't I speak? Oh my gosh. My nose is driving me nuts. So I feel like you could be you're clearly in separation with someone on your mind here. And maybe it's time to move forward with strength and leave this, runner behind. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully you know what I mean. I really am getting that Queen of Swords. So if you put up boundaries with someone, and for empaths and chasers and people with a fear of abandonment, that can be the hardest thing to do, because your biggest fear when you put up healthy boundaries is it's going to push someone away or they're going to leave you. And maybe that's exactly what happened to you. Maybe you put up boundaries and that person disappeared. Stand firm in your boundaries is what I'm hearing. Chasing, yes. That's exactly what I said. Leave behind that chaser energy. Chaser in a codependent relationship, fear of abandonment issue. So yesterday I read you guys some information about fear of abandonment and how it manifests in different ways in different people. And that fear of abandonment can really cause that runner chaser energy, but below the surface, you're both wanting the same thing. You're both longing for connection. You just, that wound manifests in very different ways. So leave behind, again, leave behind needing to chase someone for clarity, needing to chase someone for honor and protection. Listen to my throat blocking, block throat chakra. So it's very important that, and I know it's hard, but speak your truth. Put up those healthy boundaries. The people who are meant to be around you right now will respect those boundaries. It won't scare them away. And I know that can be really hard. Seriously, my nose will not stop running, so leave this runner behind. And if they're meant to be with you, you let go of that dock, right? I'm seeing you tied to a dock. Let go, just unhook your boat and move forward. And I'm not saying like, oh, just get over them. There's plenty of fish in the sea. That's not what I'm saying. But as long, like, look at the truth of the situation. Look at how they're showing up right now. If they are running from you, they're not ready to be caught. It doesn't matter how much you chase them. It doesn't matter how much you tell them you love them. It doesn't matter how patient you are. Look at what they're showing you right now. That's the clarity you need right now to stop chasing, is what I'm hearing. And know your worth. You don't have to chase love. You don't have to. You want love to meet you halfway. You don't want to overextend yourself for love. Again, if you're chasing something that's trying to run from you, you're telling the universe that's what you feel you deserve. So take off those chaser boots, right? Take them off. Kick back, put your feet up. Stop chasing. And again, it's easier said than done. And it's not just the runner people chase. We can chase a lot of things, like friendship, like jobs. You shouldn't have to chase what's meant to align with you. Oh dear, we have girl with a snake. Empath and narcissist paradigm, right? So remember I said release any fixer patterns over people who aren't ready to heal. I have a hair in my mouth. Become that empowered empath. Stop enabling bad behavior. Again, if we enable it, we're telling the universe, that's what I think I deserve. I think I deserve to be mistreated. I think I deserve to be... I think I deserve someone to run away from me. I think I deserve someone to gaslight me. Right? No. Become that empowered empath. Empaths have a hard time with this because they're so patient, they're so loving, and that's exactly why they attract these people who need to heal. So if you feel like you've been dealing with a runner who maybe has narcissistic tendencies, definitely stop chasing that. See the truth of the situation, right? Protect your energy. Stop enabling that. Boundaries. Even people who you feel are using you, like people who come towards you, they want something from you, and then when they get what they want, they're gone. Time to put up healthy boundaries. We have this hand of cards. So this is about not showing hand, like someone who keeps their cards close to their chest, someone who's closed off emotionally. And again, I know how hard it is to stop chasing, especially someone, look at this, someone you feel you're in a soul contract with. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying you can just snap your fingers and like, oh, I'm not a chaser anymore. But this always reminds me of the Four of Pentacles, like someone, you know, someone who's closed off emotionally, someone who doesn't want to talk about the future, someone who keeps their cards close to their chest. They're not open and honest. They hold back. And then you have to chase that clarity, right? With that sword and the rose, you feel like you have to chase clarity from them. I'm hearing, take the clarity they're giving you right now. If they're running from you right now, if they're holding their cards close to their chest, that's your answer for now. And again, I'm not saying that by doing this, you're done with your counterpart, or you're not interested in them anymore, or you're never going to be with them. That's not what I'm saying. But if you want them to evolve, you have to lead the way. You have to get in your boat and move forward without them and stop waiting for them to stop running. That causes a shift, especially like counterpart connections. Yeah, we have sunglasses. So if you're like watching your person online, leave that in 2025. In 2026, no more creeping. No more spying on their social media so that you can see whatever they're posting on social media. They probably post things that make them look happy, or they probably might post things that trigger you. You don't need that. Stop looking. Really. It's not reality what they're posting online. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people post the happy little bits from their life, unless they're helping people. Then, do you know what I mean? Like some people will post when they're having a hard time if they're helping people, or like I'm thinking about when I used to do autistic TikTok, like autistic people will post when they're having a hard time to explain what it's like to be an autistic person. But most of the time, people just post the best little highlights of their life online, and we really don't know what's going on behind that screen. This also says gaslighting. So definitely, you know, if you're dealing with any type of connection, family, friend, love, soul contract, and you feel like you're being gaslit, leave that in 2025. We don't need that energy in 2026. You know, the thing about gaslighting, okay, I don't even really like that term, but it's when someone is so stuck on their perception that they can't see anybody else's perception. So like, I'm having a hard time thinking of an example, but when you are at the receiving end of gaslighting, it makes you question yourself. It messes with your mind. It causes self-doubt. And you know, we do have this girl with a snake, the empath narcissist paradigm. I take the gender out of it. So if you're an empath who's incredibly loving, right, and you have someone gaslighting you, because you have that big, big heart, you could start to question your worth. You could start to question your own perception. You know, you could say to this person, like, you hurt me, and then they could gaslight you to the point where you're like, did they actually hurt me, or am I just imagining things? Like, you start to question yourself. Leaving it behind. Get out of here. You don't deserve that. And if you really want this person, you deserve the healed version of them, who's willing to look at their shadows and heal the star, right? How did I know that empath narcissist paradigm was going to come out? No bottom of the deck. Wedding rings. Exactly. You can't come into union with someone you have to chase. You can't. How can you have a stable marriage with someone you can't? How can you have a happy marriage, union, if there's all these shadows going on and you're enabling that behavior? It's not going to magically stop. And in order for counterparts to come into union, divine feminines, a divine feminine would not accept this. A wounded feminine would. A wounded feminine would accept lower vibrational energy, would accept being mistreated, would accept toxic energy. A divine feminine would not. And it's hard. It's hard, especially when you feel a soul contract. Like this wedding ring says soul connection. So what are you calling in? Union, wedding, married, soul connection, eternal love, everlasting promise. And again, I'm not saying it can't be with that person, but it can't be with that person if they're still running. And the only way they're going to stop running is if you stop chasing them. Heartbreak, pain, separation, deception. How can you have a stable, everlasting love built on a strong foundation if that's happening? Right? And again, I am in no way, like, I'm so worried about causing a lack of hope in some of you, and that's not what this is about. This is about knowing your worth more than this, more than this, more than this, more than this, more than that. Take this, leave it in 2025. This is what you deserve. This is what you deserve. Clarity, truth, honor, protection. You deserve that emperor. You deserve this. And again, I hate to repeat myself, but I do it anyway. The only way you're going to get this is if you stop enabling it in your life and you stop chasing it. Especially if you're counterparts. You know, if you don't resonate with counterparts or you want to call in a soulmate, by chasing all of that, you're blocking that soulmate from coming in. Right? Make room in your life for the more evolved version of that soul contract or new love. You don't need to accept the lower vibrational energy of that soul contract. That's one of the hardest parts of this journey, in my opinion. Let's get two more. Passion, insane chemistry, like each other equally, having fun. Good. No, no, no more. Golden mirror, no thank you. Again, this is what you want. You want passion. You want liking each other equally. You want equal give and take. You want a connection where you come together and you're not chasing someone. And this, now we have the golden mirror, self-absorbed, narcissistic tendencies, one-sided. No, you want equal. And I believe people can change. I believe whoever you're connected to can change. But it starts with you no longer enabling that. All right. I want to see if Spirit will tell me what you're calling in. What are you calling in? What are you calling in? What are you calling in? All right. Exactly. Sudden change. Surprise, epiphany, upheaval, transformation. That's what you're calling in. Sudden change. What did I just say about your person? I believe they can change. Keep a positive mindset that they can change, but keep moving forward. Stop chasing. I say it like it's so easy. I would be totally triggered by myself a few years ago if I was watching me right now. I'd be like, you say it like it's so easy. Just stop chasing. Like, you know what I mean? Ugh. Engagement ring. This is what you're calling in. Engagementship. Engagement, partnership, commitment, eternity, completion, union. Exactly. Change, transformation. That's what you're calling in. This is, you want to tell the universe, I deserve this. I deserve, let me go over these cards again. Remember, I'm just going to be a broken record here for you to really get it through your head and your heart. So, tell the universe, I deserve this. Get out of here, you runner. I deserve wedding rings. I deserve union, soul connection, eternal love, everlasting promise. I deserve truth, clarity, honesty, protection, honor. I deserve liking each other equally, having fun with someone. Engagement, partnership, commitment, eternity, completion, union. And this is probably what you've been chasing from this person, right? So how do you call this in? You stop chasing all of this. That's how you call it in. Also, remember that positive mindset and believing that you can fix people. You know, I hear that a lot, like, and I used to have that mindset. I just want to help them. I just want to help them. That's that empath in you. But they need to be wanting to help themselves first. I always say it's like an alcoholic or an addict. They need to make that decision for themselves. You can't push them into rehab. Well, I mean, you can. And they could probably do rehab and then come out and relapse. Like, the person has to make that decision for themselves. All right, before I continue on, I want to read this Fear of Abandonment to you one more time in case you missed it yesterday. Every time I bring out this book, people are like, what is that book? Isn't it amazing? It's full It's got like 200 pages full of wounds. How we get them, how they affect us, how it causes us to self-sabotage in connections. There's journaling prompts. Listen, my left eye is leaking, so what are you meant to be releasing, right? All right. Do you know what I opened it up to? Fear of change. And maybe you're used to chasing, right? Fear of change. The fear of change is the mind's desperate attempt to cling to what is familiar, even when the familiar is no longer serving you. So, this book, it's called Sacred Shadows, The Reckoning Co. Who wrote this book? I know their initials. The crack is where the light enters. The wound is where the wisdom emerges. The breaking is where the becoming begins. Beautiful. I don't know. I know the initials, though. You know what? I'm just going to read this. I'm just going to read this to you. It's a poem. I don't know why I'm going to read it to you, but I feel called to. The medicine of shadows. In the depths where wounds whisper their wisdom, where shadows hold sacred secrets untold, there lies a truth beneath the breaking, a medicine more precious than gold. Each scar maps a journey of becoming. Each pain points to wisdom unnamed. In darkness we find our deepest knowing. Through breaking we are finally reclaimed. These wounds are not mere misfortune. These shadows not meant for shame. Exactly. They are portals to profound understanding, initiations that whisper your name. For in the cave of forgotten memories, in the depths where fear holds sway, there dwells a light of transformation, where night gives birth to day. So we enter these sacred shadows gently, walk softly through this grace, for here in the heart of your healing, you'll find your rightful place. Let every wound, I have chills. Let every wound be your teacher. Let every shadow guide your way. For in this sacred dance of healing, your medicine is birthed today. Remember, you chose these initiations, these precious paths to break and mend. For in the alchemy of sacred wounding, shadow and light finally blend. Welcome, dear one, to this journey through darkness back to light. Your wounds are holy doorways, your shadows hold your might. In honoring our wounds, we discover our wisdom. In embracing our shadows, we embody our light. And I'm just going to read the abandonment wound. Abandonment. Abandonment leaves an imprint, a whisper in the mind that says, if I was truly worthy, they would have stayed. It convinces you that your belonging is conditional, that love must be earned, and that rejection is proof of your unworthiness. But this is an illusion. The deepest wound is not that someone left. It is the belief that their departure determined your value. When you free yourself from seeking external validation, from measuring your worth by who chooses or does not choose you, something profound happens. The fear dissolves. You stop chasing approval and start standing in your own presence. You realize that the love you've been searching for has been within you all along. I love that. I love that. Because that's the truth. The love that you're chasing is actually within you. You are not the echoes of the ones who walked away. You are not unchosen, unworthy, or disposable. You are sovereign. Your heart is not something to be proven. It is something to be honored. Honor. Remember the clarity, the sword and the rose. Honor. Protection. Protect your heart. And as you step forward, no longer defining yourself by absence, but by presence, the roar of your own freedom emerges. The fear of being abandoned cannot haunt you when you no longer abandon yourself. Listen to this. Over time, abandonment can lead to chronic loneliness, deep distrust of others, or an inability to feel truly safe in relationships. Watch for patterns of overgiving, people pleasing, or staying in unhealthy situations out of fear of being alone. And it also talks about how people run because of this wound. Dismissing intimacy, avoiding deep relationships, or keeping connections at an arm's length. Remember the hands of cards? Hand of cards? Keeping connections at arm's length to prevent potential pain. Unconsciously creating distance, seeing who will chase unconsciously. Anyway, very good book. And I think that the next reading I do for you, it does go with the deck. I think the deck, I don't know if the deck is available right now. Last time I checked, it was sold out, but there is a deck for it as well on Etsy. Do we want to get a few? Let's get a few. I touched it for a reason. Let's just get a few. What wounds? Come on. What wounds? What wounds should you be healing and leaving behind? That's what I'm hearing. There we go. I'll just get a couple because these can be really triggering. Attachment wound. Needing to heal from attachment wound. Will show up as difficulty forming secure, trusting relationships or a fear of abandonment and rejection. They may manifest as emotional distance, clinginess, codependency, or an inability to fully open up and connect with others due to past experiences of neglect or inconsistent care. I mean, that kind of sounds exactly like the cards I was pulling. The chasing energy, the clinginess, I hate that terminology, because how many of you have been told that you were too much or too clingy? Or an inability to fully open up, and we had the hand of cards. Attachment wounds clearly being triggered within this connection. Let's read it. Like I said, these can be triggering. So it's important to be gentle with yourself. All right. Attachment forms the foundation of our connections, shaping how we give and receive love. But when love is entangled with fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of losing control, it ceases to be love and becomes possession, dependency, or avoidance. Attachment wounds whisper that love must be earned, that closeness is dangerous, or that people will leave the moment we show our true selves. These wounds manifest as clinging too tightly, pushing people away, or cycling between both, never feeling truly safe in a connection. But love is not meant to be held hostage by fear. Love for others and for ourselves is not about control, it is about freedom. Healing an attachment wound is not about never needing anyone. It is about learning to love from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. It is about trusting that connection does not require possession and that intimacy does not require self-abandonment. You are not unworthy of love, nor are you destined to chase or flee from it. Whoa, like seriously. You were meant to give and receive love freely, without fear, without attachment, without conditions. And when you learn that love is not something to lose, but something to be, you will no longer hold it with grasping hands. You will carry it with you, unshakable and infinite. And what did I say? Like, if you're having to grasp at it or try and pull it into 2026, it's not meant to come with you right now. So, let's see. I'm just going to read a little bit more. So, a deep and persistent pattern of instability in relationships shaped by early experiences of inconsistent love, rejection, or unmet emotional needs. This wound manifests as difficulty trusting others, fear of abandonment, or an inability to fully open up without anxiety. Some may cling tightly to relationships, seeking constant reassurance, while others may withdraw emotionally, fearing intimacy will lead to pain. Relationships often feel like a push-pull dynamic, yearning for closeness but fearing dependence, craving connection but expecting disappointment. This wound can lead to self-sabotage, unhealthy attachments to unavailable people, or emotional numbing as a way to prevent further hurt. Physically, it may show up as chest tightness, difficulty breathing during emotional distress, or digestive issues linked to nervous system dysregulation. Watch for patterns of anxious attachment, avoidance of deep emotional bonds, or recreating childhood relational wounds in adult connections. Let's get at least one more. We'll start with one more. I wasn't planning on getting this deck. One more. That one didn't want to come out. Soul contracts. Will show up as reoccurring patterns, relationships, or challenges that feel deeply familiar, as though they are part of a larger unseen agreement your soul made before coming into this life. These lessons often push you to confront unresolved issues, deepen your understanding of love, forgiveness, or personal growth, and teach you about your purpose, strength, and resilience. Soul contract. And that's what I channel, is soul contracts. Soul contracts. And you know, if you don't want to hear this and you just want the love reading, that's something to reflect on too. Why don't you want to hear it? You know what I mean? Lessons, apparently it's under L. Yes, it is. All right. Where was I? Okay. Healing comes when you start to learn the timing of each connection, to honor what was given without clinging to what must pass. Some people come to your life to teach, some to heal, some to break you open so that you can step into your fullest self. Some to break you open so that you can step into your fullest self. That to me is the twin flame connection. When you accept that these endings or separations are not punishments, you release the pain of loss and step into the wisdom of surrender. Every soul contract, whether brief or lifelong, has a purpose. When you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what did this teach me? That is when the lesson is complete and your soul is free to move forward. So instead of asking, why does this person run from me? Why do they gaslight me? Whatever it is. And start saying, what did this teach me? What did this teach me about what I'm willing to accept and not accept? You know what no, I'm not going to say it. You know what I mean. So, a struggle with understanding and integrating the lessons embedded with soul contracts, spiritual agreements made before birth to experience certain challenges for growth and evolution. This wound manifests as reoccurring hardships, karmic relationships, or feeling trapped in cycles of pain without understanding their deeper purpose. There may be patterns of betrayal, abandonment, or loss leading to frustration, resistance, or resentment towards life and the people who seem to trigger these lessons. Emotionally, this wound can create confusion, distrust in the universe, or a sense of powerlessness in breaking free from repeating patterns. Some may resist these lessons, feeling as if life is unfair or punishing them rather than guiding them toward healing. Physically, this wound may show up as chronic fatigue, heart tension, or digestive issues. Over time, an inability to acknowledge or integrate soul lessons can result in stagnation, a disconnection a disconnection from intuition and spiritual guidance, or a subconscious attraction to situations that reinforce old wounds. So I'm going to stop there, but I think those two were really good for this reading. But yeah, I'll do a reading in the next few days with this deck for you. All right. Have you ever seen my nose run this much in a reading? It's insane. Leave that runner behind. Sacred Shadows, The Reckoning Co. Very good. And I find that I always resonate with at least, even if it's one line of every single wound. And half the battle of healing these wounds is being self-aware of them. So there's no shame if you get this book and you're like reading it. There's no shame in saying, "Oh, that's me. Oh, that's me." And being more self-aware of that wound. All right. All right. So let's see what Spirit can tell me about what you're leaving behind and what you're calling in. Boundaries, healthy, clear, boundaries, like communicating your needs. And a lot of people have a fear of communicating their needs because what if that person says you're too much? What if that person leaves? Maybe you feel like you're asking for too much. Maybe as a child you were told you were asking for too much. So, what are you leaving behind versus what are you calling in? Let's have a look. Oh my, oh my. Oh my. That is so interesting. All right. This is what we're leaving behind for sure. Thank you, Spirit. So, I'm going to save these two cards for after I get the rest of them, because those were the ones that went me say, "Oh my." So, what are you calling in? Spiritual awakening, rebirth, evolving into a higher version of yourself. We also have coffee. Coffee date, coffee lover, coffee shop. So clearly you're calling in some kind of Two of Cups here. This reminds me of the Two of Cups. Coffee cup, interested in conversing more, conversation, communication, whether it's with someone you know or it's someone new. That's what you're calling in. Maybe you're calling in someone who's spiritually awakened, right? Even if it is your past person. What are we leaving behind? Inconsistent. Let's get off that roller coaster, please. Blows hot and cold, ups and downs. Get out of here. It's reminding me of the Knight of Wands. Definitely leave the Knight of Wands in 2025. No more inconsistency, no more hot and cold. That can be damaging to your mental health and your heart, counterpart or not. It creates that push-pull dynamic. It actually can create an addiction in you, a codependency in you when someone's inconsistent. So, we're going to leave that one in 2025, please. Issues, problems, concerns, overthinking. Exactly. Let's leave overthinking behind. Or connections that cause this within you. Listen to your body. You know that friend I told you about? Update yesterday if you didn't watch that reading. All of a sudden I'm blocked for saying Merry Christmas. Anyway, I just have to laugh at it. Years ago, it really would have triggered me, but clearly not in alignment with that. But the last few times I saw that friend, before I saw that friend, my whole body was like full of anxiety and I didn't want to go, and I should have listened to my body. Like, listen to your body. If you're feeling anxious or like this, it means that is not aligned with you, right? What are you calling in? Transformation. We're ending some cycles, creating new ones. Wheel of Fortune energy. You're calling in change. The wheel is turning in your favor. Cycles are ending, new ones are beginning. Transformation. And that transformation starts with you. Luck. Good luck. Positive outcome. I'm hearing maybe you meet someone very serendipitously. You know, this can be for those of you who are calling in new love. Or for those of you who, that oh my, I'll get to it in a minute, positive outcome with a past person. Marriage. You're calling in marriage. Wedding, public declaration of love, a proposal. So, leave this over there. This is what you're calling in. This is what you're worthy of, if that's what you want. These are the two that made me laugh. They came flying out together, landed together. Reconcile and player. So, Knight of Wands energy, inconsistent, hot and cold, on again, off again. Player energy, commitment issues, fear of commitment. Reconciling with that, but not that version. This version, a transformed version of that. That's weird. I'm seeing Super Mario World. Like Super NES. The guys who throw the footballs. Is someone playing that? That's a good game. Oh man, I would be so happy if one of you was like, I'm playing it while I'm listening to you. You're cool as shit. You're so cool. That's a great game. A few more. What are you leaving behind? And what are you calling in? Romance. Yeah. Romance. It says fairy tale, which... Do I have to really mention it? Fairy tales are rarely obstacle-free. But fairy tale love, show off, wine and dine. You want someone who's proud to be with you, right? Honor, protection. Someone who's proud to be with you. That's what you're calling in. Not someone who keeps you a secret. Moving on. Forward movement, healing, next step. And moving on, I always say it, moving on does not necessarily mean that you'll never be with that soul contract that you love so much. But you're moving forward. Remember the boat. So moving on from obstacles, moving on from inconsistency, healing, next step. And again, if you continue to chase and don't want to move forward, you're going to keep calling in that person in the same version of themselves. You know what I mean? Or you're not going to be able to call in a new person. Again, what you're willing to... How did I word that earlier? What you're willing to accept, even if it's less than you deserve, is how you're telling the universe, that's what I think I deserve. I talk about that with I use food as an example. If you order a meal and they bring you the wrong meal and you don't like it and it tastes funny and it smells weird and you eat it, how is the waiter or waitress supposed to know that that's not what you wanted? You're eating it. You're consuming it. I'm like, all right, this is fine. So if you asked for seconds, they would bring you another plate of that. Do you know what I mean? So if this person shows up in 2026 still In that other energy, say, no, thank you, universe. This is not what I ordered. I ordered a more healed version of this person. Healthy boundaries. All right, let's see what you're leaving behind, what you're calling in from this deck. Community, yeah. See, you could be chasing this person. You could be chasing this person. Meanwhile, your community, your people, your soul tribe is trying to find you, but you're so busy chasing them. Whereas if you stand in your own power and heal, your light grows. Your light is what calls your people in. I would not be here if I was still, like, years ago. I said years ago, if I had watched this reading, I would have been triggered. I would just stop chasing. And if I was still there, you wouldn't be here with me right now. I wouldn't be here talking to you. Right? So, your people, team, belonging, giving your energy where you feel like you belong, with people who lift you up. Lift me up where I belong. That song. Deep conversation, in depth, woo. Surface level connections, inconsistent communication. Breadcrumbs. Leave them in 2025, please. You're calling in deep conversations, in depth, below the surface. There's also a house and a baby there, and like a romantic situation happening here. So 2 of Cups again. Words of affirmation. 6 of Pentacles, equal give and take. I whispered breadcrumbs for a reason. Showing care with love. No, showing care with words, speaking with love. And who says that can't be your counterpart, coming back healed and transformed? Who says this isn't someone like a soulmate who may change? For all you know, this could be someone brand new. Although I hear you. I heard you immediately. Some of you don't want that. But for all you know, this could be a soulmate coming in to reflect back to you what you truly deserve. Speaking with words of affirmation. That's why I don't want to put a label on it. It's someone showing care with love, showing care with words, speaking with love, deep conversation. If you've had someone in distorted masculine energy, stubborn, strong-headed, strong-willed, headstrong, stubborn, not wanting to open up to you, doing the breadcrumb thing, leave it over there, please. This is what you're calling in. Thriving, growing, progressing, flourishing. That goes for career too. Everything I say about a counterpart, you could put into the career too. If you're chasing, if you feel like you're accepting less than you deserve, Spirit's saying you're going the wrong way. End game. Someone you'll end up together, forever person. That's what you're calling in. Doesn't that sound better than what you're leaving in 2025? I'm not going to get channeled messages today, by the way. What are we leaving behind here? What you calling in? Unplanned, sudden, quick action. And I've heard so many people say the moment that they release something, it's like not tower moment, but suddenly, unexpectedly, it's like when you make room, energetically, something appears. So sudden action. Fulfillment. See, this is what you're headed towards. Fulfillment. A love that feels fulfilling, that makes you jump up and down for joy and do a happy dance. Not one that makes you insomnia, overthinking, crying. But there's a reason, just like that thing said, what did it teach you? What did that love in the past teach you? Or that version of that person teach you? Right? Authentic. Someone you can be your authentic self with. Queen of Swords, speak your truth with. Speak up about your needs and they won't run. They'll say, I would love to meet those needs. Someone who's being authentic with you. And remember when we were talking about the attachment wound, it said, like, you may have a hard time being authentically yourself. The only way you're going to call in your people or align with what's meant with you is if you are your authentic self. If I was sitting here pretending to be somebody else with a mask on, which I used to when I first started my channel, I would not be calling you in. You wouldn't be seeing my light, right? Shine your light. Shine your frickin' light. I want to see it. Alluring. Allure them with, you're alluring with your light. You're magnetic. Magnetic energy, Queen of Wands. Stand in your power. Stand in your strength. Know your worth. I do not have to chase, I attract. I'm not talking about gender. You could be a man with sexy legs. You'll be irresistible to love. Transition, period of change. Shifting, moving on from challenges, moving into calmer waters, Six of Swords. Yes, please. Nothing would make me happier than to see my friend happy. Talk, communicate. There's a few cards about communication here. So you're definitely going to be talking to somebody. Any other advice about what they're leaving behind and what they're calling in? I don't know what that is. I have no idea what this card is, but Spirit's telling me to take it. Now I see why Spirit told me to took it. Oh my gosh. Why can't I speak? You're calling in a connection, a soul connection, a kindred spirit. Either a soulmate or the evolved version of that soul contract. It says weeks, this month, within weeks. Better take those chasing boots off. You don't want to miss the boat. Remember the boat. Take your chasing boots off. Deceit. We'll put that over here, right? Lied to, deceived, sneaking around. Goodbye. All right. Tarot time. I was really called to grab the Light Seers Tarot. The other day I was doing a reading and I could not for the life of me picture the High Priestess from the Light Seers Tarot, and that made me sad because the Light Seers Tarot... Why can't I speak? The Light Seers Tarot is my favorite deck. It's the deck that I learned on. So I was told you have to learn on the Rider-Waite Tarot, but I didn't feel connected to the Rider-Waite Tarot. So I learned on the Light Seers Tarot, and for a long time, every time I pulled a card from any deck, I would see the card from the Light Seers Tarot. So I felt very called to get it for you. And early on in my journey, it was the only deck that I used for myself. So I have like an emotional attachment to it, but not in an unhealthy way, because I think if it was an unhealthy attachment, I would always use it. But anyway, it's very nostalgic for me of when I was learning some of these lessons. I'm still learning lessons. We're always going to be learning lessons. But I felt very called to get it for you today. I haven't used it in such a long time. So yeah, let's get it. So again, I'm not looking at channeled messages from who this is. I'm looking at what are you meant to be leaving behind and what are you attracting in. And again, that could be a higher version of your counterpart. It could be a soulmate. What? What? That's the pin I pulled. The Emperor. You're calling in someone confident, stable, willing to take the lead, maybe an Aries. The Emperor, divine masculine energy. What else are you doing? You're going to try and embody that masculine energy when it comes to knowing your worth, knowing you're more than good enough, and releasing fixer patterns over people who don't want to be fixed, right? Right? The Emperor. I also shuffled this deck a lot before this reading. I have another one of these, but it's mine. And I decided to get a new one for my channel. The Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. This is what you're calling in. Your wish fulfillment. A very fulfilling love. This is also the energy of, I find it easy and effortless to love myself. Your affirmation at 2:22 in the afternoon. My nose is still freaking running and I'm not sick. Release that runner. Nine of Cups is also about not sometimes. 9 is an independent number. Why can't I speak? 9 is an independent number. And the Nine of Cups is not just about wish fulfillment. It's about knowing that the happiness you've been looking for is within you. It's about feeling happy and fulfilled even if you're alone. It comes after the Eight of Cups, and the Eight of Cups can be about walking away from what no longer serves you. The Eight of Cups can even be walking away from something that you still love in order for your own fulfillment, because the thing you love isn't fulfilling you anymore. So I like that for you. Nine of Cups energy. Nice. I hope you'll remember me when you're off, happy, living your life and in love. I hope you'll remember me. Nine of Cups again. All right, let's shovel this deck. That's the last one. Let's cut the deck. What do we have, Spirit? What are you guys doing for New Year's? I'm going to watch the last episode. Yeah! My gosh, that's fucking magic. The Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune. I wonder how I look when I'm like that. I don't really care. The Wheel of Fortune. That's the year we're moving into. The wheel is going to turn in your favor. Change, transformation. After making some adjustments, right? Anyway, I'm going to watch the last episode of Stranger Things and eat tacos with my kids because it's their favorite food. That's my New Year's plans. So, I love that. The initials TARO could be symbolic. Oh, I get it. It spells tarot. That's funny. But TARO could be symbolic. I love that. That's what you're calling in. And we have the star. So funny. I was looking through you know how you can do wallpapers on your lock screen? I was actually looking through some of my old wallpapers and I was like, some of these I don't really want to see anymore, like older ones, you know, pictures of certain people and stuff like that on my lock screen. So I actually went through them all and I removed all the ones that I no longer aligned with. And I came across a picture I took of this card. I came across a picture that I took of this card, and I've made it my lock screen. So this has been my lock screen for the past few days, and I'll probably leave it like that for like a year. But calling in healing, wish fulfillment, positive mindset, remember? I like it. I like it. All right. So let's see what you're leaving behind. Let's see what you're leaving behind. What is the viewer leaving behind? Okay. I mean, this is very clear. Very clear message here. So we have the Three of Pentacles. We have a lot of reversals here. We have these three in reverse and the Page of Swords. So remember, no more spying. No more spying on people. You don't really know what's going on in their life. They may look happy. Maybe they're not happy. Who cares? Let's stop spying on them. The Page of Swords can talk about, you know, it can talk about surface level communication. We were talking about that. It can also symbolize in love someone who is very sly or cunning with their words, so I have to mention it. If you feel like someone is being sly or cunning with their words, we were seeing that in the black deck, you know, the golden mirror, those types of things. So that's something that you're leaving behind here. I'm feeling called to, hang on. One thing I'm hearing before I even look at the book, you know, communication with someone or a connection that never goes anywhere. It never gets past that surface level. You know what I mean? What are you leaving behind? Argumentative, defensive partner, failure to communicate. Job hopping. Unsure about your career. Overanalyzing finances. What are you leaving behind? The fear to publicly express your true self for fear of rejection or what other people think. Yes, please leave that behind. You should be your authentic self. Maybe leaving behind any cynicalness. It also says like insulting. So anybody who insults you, anybody who's really cynical, cynical of you, I'm hearing. It also says gossipy. So that's something, you know, gossip is a low vibrational energy. So leave that behind. That's something that I used to do when I was very unhealed. I would like gossip with my friend about strangers on the internet, about celebrities, about like when I was at work, people at work. It's very low vibrational. And does it really make you feel better? So leave that behind if you are someone who's prone to gossip. Two of Pentacles in reverse. Inconsistency. Leave it in the past. And this isn't, I'm mentioning a bunch of things, not just love. Let's leave behind imbalances. So not having a healthy balance between like family and work, or working out and recovery. If you work out, you know what I'm talking about. I've had a really unhealthy balance. No, I've been working on my balance, but for a while I had a really unhealthy balance of working out and no recovery. But anyway, it's better now. But anything that feels unbalanced, leave behind any things, situations, relationships where you feel neglected and you feel like you have to earn that love. And like that book said, that could stem from your childhood. Like I really resonate with the fact that when I was young, I felt, you know, neglected. I felt unloved. I went through a lot in my household. I learned to walk on eggshells. I learned to be very quiet. I learned to be like, what's that expression? Seen, not heard. Not even seen, not seen or heard. And I would do things to like try and earn approval or people please as a child, like as a very small child. And I carried that with me my whole life until I'm still working on it. But anything or anyone that you feel neglects you or like you have to earn it, leave it back here. Three of Pentacles. So this is about collaboration. This is, well, it's in reverse. So anything that doesn't feel like it's collaborating with you, or people or situations who feel like they're working against you, or someone who's not showing up as a good teammate in love, right? Someone who may be hurting you or neglecting you or showing up inconsistently rather than protecting and providing and nurturing. And again, it doesn't mean that they can't change in the future, but the only way to initiate that change is by raising your standards. Because if you're accepting this and you're accepting this, that's what you're calling in. 10 of Cups in reverse. Meddling relatives came right to my mind. Meddling relatives who want to meddle in your life. Don't let anybody meddle in your life. But this is also about things that feel like there's a disharmony. Things that don't fulfill you. If it doesn't fulfill you, put it in the to-go pile. And we have the Sun. So anything that doesn't fulfill you, any situations, like I'm seeing the shadow, any situations, because all of these are in reverse. Any areas where you feel like you're being taken for granted, release. If you're dealing with like some super unhealed people, for example, release feeling like you can fix them. And I'm not saying we should just like, F unhealed people, they suck, like get away from me. I'm not saying that. But it can bring you down. It can affect you energetically, especially in like a love connection. If someone's not willing to heal, that means they're not willing to grow. So how can you grow a connection with someone like that? How can you grow and shine and flourish if, like, I don't know why I get these weird images in my mind, but like I'm seeing like two succulents in a pot. And you have like a rotting succulent who doesn't want to grow, doesn't want to do anything, and you're trying to thrive beside it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why I get these weird... Anyway. Baggage. Healing baggage that you've carried around with you since childhood. Anything that feels like it's weighing you down, anything that feels overwhelming, anything that feels like it's collapsing. What are you calling in? The Fool. The Three of Wands. Progression, growth. A healthy, stable connection. When it comes to love, this is about starting a healthy, stable connection. I just heard, this is your year, baby. New beginning, the Fool. So surrender, let go of the things that you're trying to, like, I think of this as you heading into the new year. What is this that you're trying to drag with you? Let it go. And just because you let it go doesn't mean it won't show up later. That cliche thing, if you love something, let it go. If it's meant to be, you'll see it again. There's forward movement and growth here, possibly after feeling stuck. We have the Ace of Pentacles on the bottom, new beginnings, putting down roots, pentacles that will grow. Could be a new job, could be new love, could be a renewal with someone that you already know. 3, 6, blah. 6 of Swords. My brain just short-circuited. 6 of Swords, moving into calmer waters, transition. Remember that card, a period of change, transition, moving on from challenges, releasing that 3 of Swords. Lovely. What are you calling in? Good. That's good. You are releasing unhealthy patterns. You are becoming more self-aware. What are you calling in? Someone who's more self-aware. Someone who's not in low vibrational energy. 5 of Swords in reverse. For some of you, there's a reconciliation here. Because you are no longer calling in self-sabotage. You are no longer calling in arguments, mind games, the gaslighting thing. Something that screws with your head. And for some of you, it's a reconciliation. This is about making amends with someone who's become more self-aware. What's underneath that? The Star. So someone who's been healing, right? That's good. The Empress. Exactly. Whoops. You are calling in, you know what? I'm just going to put my finger there because sometimes YouTube can be a little strict about nipples. But you are calling in things that you no longer have to chase. You're attracting them in. You're calling in the birth of something new here. Something very fertile. You know, like I'm seeing you with that Ace of Pentacles. You are not chasing. You are attracting. You're tending to your garden. And that pentacle that's coming in is just going to take root like crazy because your land is fertile. I don't know what that is. Like, where does this come from, Spirit? I just don't know. Spirit speaks in mysterious ways through me. But really stepping into that Empress energy, divine feminine energy. You don't have to chase this. It's coming for you. Again, for some of you, overcoming adversity, welcoming someone home, attracting someone home with the Empress, a reconciliation, someone who's coming back healed, more self-aware, someone who's changed, someone who's made positive changes. And this card reminds me, like, to me, there's such, I really used to resonate with this card because she looks like she's trapped. She looks like she's left out in the cold, but she's not. She has the power to free herself. There's a key right there being illuminated. All she has to do is stand up and get it to free herself. So someone who has seen the light, chosen to heal, become more self-aware. Someone who's made positive changes. And if this is new love, this is not someone who's toxic. This is not someone playing mind games or self-sabotaging. What else are you calling in here? Ace of Wands. Action. Passionate new beginning. Reigniting passions, I'm hearing. What are you calling in? Oh dear. For some of you, like seriously, It's why I was hearing it this whole time. For some of you, you're calling in someone from your past. For others of you, you're calling in someone new who's a soulmate. If it's someone from your past, the Page of Cups, the Six of Cups, it's someone who's showing you a new perspective of themselves. They're going to look different. For some of you, it's going to be someone brand new who may just show you exactly what you're worth in a good way. Believe in the impossible, I'm hearing. Expect the unexpected. When pigs fly, that's what I always hear with this card. That'll happen when pigs fly. One more. Boundaries. Strength. Having the strength to put up healthy boundaries. Knowing when you should protect your heart. Having the courage to do so. Having the strength to speak your authentic truth. For some of you, a very honest conversation coming in. Eight of Wands is underneath that. Do you want to see what's under that? The Emperor and Death and Rebirth. Pretty clear reading. Any advice for you, my friend? Any advice? What advice does the viewer need? Release attachment, release control of the outcome, or release the idea of an outcome. How can I put that? Surrender control. Continue to work on your shadows. Continue to heal yourself. Release unhealthy attachments. Continue looking at those shadows. I said I was going to do a reading with that deck, so hopefully you watch that. Ace of Swords. Interesting. I'm getting a message about a past person here. There could be a breakthrough coming for you with a soul contract. Judgment. You may have a decision to make. If someone from your past comes forward, maybe for some of you, you'll have a choice between a soulmate and your counterpart. That's interesting. For some of you, you may have a choice to make. It'll be your call. The ball's in your court. It looks like there's a resurrection coming to me, though. Someone who's has a breakthrough moment after you release them is what it looks like to me. Don't make any decisions without reflecting and having clarity. Don't make decisions just because you're feeling a pull on somebody's energy again. Let me get one more. And I think that you releasing the things that don't want to come with you causes a breakthrough moment for you. It frees you. Nine of Cups. Wish fulfillment, success, happiness, fulfillment. That's within you, not outside of you. So focus on keeping a positive mindset. Focus on things that fulfill you. Raise that vibration. Release anything that lowers your vibration, right? Before I leave you, I just wanted to get you a few cards from the Soul Whispers Guidebook, just for advice, instead of channeled messages. So look at what's on the path. Oh my gosh. Look at what's on the bottom of the deck. Number 20, Judgment. Follow the path of least resistance. And if you love this deck, it's on Etsy. Soul Whispers Guidebook on Etsy. It's by the same person who does Dreamy Moons Tarot. I have faith I am exactly where I need to be. Affirmation. Exactly, Spirit. We are all one. Love all creatures, for we all share the same life force. Beautiful. All right, let's get you a book. A book. What is wrong with me today? Oh my gosh. What's wrong with my words today? All right. What advice does the viewer need? What advice does the viewer need? What advice does my bestie need? Very specific card wants to come out. Everyone in your life is teaching you something. Are you learning? Are you learning from these soul contracts? It's dusty. And it's 25. So, dear human, every single person you met in your life was a teacher. Every single person in your life at this present moment is a teacher. Through each and every interaction, you are presented with an opportunity to learn about yourself and the world. So what has this connection taught you? I'm hearing like maybe it's taught you what you don't want in the future, in a future connection. Maybe it's taught you what you're no longer willing to sacrifice in love, accept. Message for my bestie. What does my bestie need to know? What does my bestie need to know? This reading was actually inspired by a comment I read. Someone had said, I don't remember the name or the comment. I just remember her saying, you're one of the things I will be taking with me into 2026. And when I read that, I was like, that's when I got the download to do this reading. And you best believe, if I have any say in it, you're all coming with me. Show up as your highest self. Shadow and light. Show up as your highest self. That's how you attract your soul tribe. That's how you align with what's meant for your highest good. Show up as your highest self. 31. 30, 30, 31. Dear human, you know you can be so much more. You know that you are already so much more. You just need to step into that version of yourself. Strive to be your best self in all that you do. That is something you will never regret doing, but will regret not doing. Beautiful. Couple more for you. Let's get 2 more. 1, 1, 2. Oh, look, and Spirit closed the deck. How nice. All right. The love within you is infinite. Share it freely with the world. 18. Divine feminine energy. I opened right up to it. Magic. Dear human, you came from a place of eternal love. At any given moment, you have access to that infinite reserve of love. If you open your heart to it, you will never lack it. Do not hold on to love. For sharing it with others will only magnify it, not take it away. So share it with the people who want your love, right? Even if that's just your pets. Even if that's me, I want your love. Open your heart to the magic around you. There is magic everywhere. And I do feel sympathy for the people whose eyes are closed to the magic. Once you start seeing the magic, it's everywhere. Dear human, every second of every day is pure magic if you choose to see it this way. The way the seeds blossom into flowers, the way the bees make honey from pollen, the way your body turns vitamins into energy. The world you see is full of wonder, all of which you feel but do not see is full of magic and mystery. Turn the ordinary into extraordinary. Choose to see the magic in everything around you. Magic is everywhere, and only the magical people can see it and appreciate it. Us magic folk, us magical unicorns. It's everywhere. And the more you see it and the more you show gratitude for it, the more intense it becomes. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here, my friends. Happy New Year. Remember to think about what we're leaving behind and what we're calling in. So if you feel called to, intention letter, sleep with it under your pillow, or the next full moon, I don't know when that is. Write a letter about what you're releasing and burn it under the moonlight. Anyway, I'm going to go now, and I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I will see you next year. Bye.